Before we begin, I have to give a shout out to Maps in a Nutshell for allowing us to use their maps, and Cap and the Grim Reapers for their support of this channel.
Let's do the target first. I asked Combat Ineffective, can I have a target that Russia would want to attack in Boston? And we couldn't really find anything. What we did find at this grid ref here is a place in or near Boston called Target. You can go look it up on Google Earth if you want. So we thought, okay, we're attacking that. We're attacking Target. It's a generic target.
Is that just a superstore?
It's a store.
Yeah, it's a store.
Target.
I don't know your bloody country.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, we're attacking Target. Well, let's say it's got some extremely valuable, I don't know, it's got something in it that needs blowing up.
In there.
It's like a higher level Walmart.
This whole thing's stupid. And
You're trying to demoralize a bunch of bougie white women.
well, you know what? For some reason,
We'll be happy.
For some reason, Putin sees it as a very, very attractive target in Target, the store.
Tell them you came from Combat Ineffective and subscribe to their channel for more fun in DCS. Well, here we are. It has almost been a year since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began. In what many predicted would be a quick and easy victory for Putin and the Russian Federation, has now become one of the worst showings of the Russian military since the Second World War. The Ukrainian Ministry of Defense has continued to update their casualty estimates. The most recent tally puts the number of Russian troops killed at 116,950. If that number is true, then Russia has lost more soldiers in Ukraine than the United States lost to all causes in World War I. This number, combined with the numbers of wounded that would almost certainly be higher, may have the number of killed and wounded for the Russians nearing 500,000 in less than a year. Couple that with the losses of machines and the expenditures of hundreds of thousands of rounds of ammunition of all kinds, and you have a situation that is very quickly sapping the strength of the Russian Federation. In a recently intercepted phone call, a Russian soldier was heard discussing orders to heavily reduce the amount of ammunition being used on the front lines. With supplies already being hammered by artillery and HIMARS strikes, and supply lines still struggling to keep up with the logistics of providing for a large army in the field, the news has not gotten much better for the Russians. In the first victory since last spring, the Russians have gained ground in the town of Bakhmut and have captured the town of Soledar to the north of Bakhmut. However, this too did not go well, as Russia used the Zap Brannigan technique for battle.
Knowing their weakness, I sent wave after wave of my own men at them.
And while the victories are a step in the right direction for Russia, it was at a horrible cost, with many of the troops dying being the newly mobilized conscripts that Russia pressed into service. But as we look at the map, these victories not only were at a huge cost, it also did little to help. Bakhmut is a crossroads town that could allow the Russians to threaten the towns of Kostiantynivka in the southwest, and more importantly, the city of Sloviansk, which would threaten the flank of the Ukrainian forces near Lyman. With the anniversary of the war about to strike, Ukraine and Russia may both be gearing up for the final push that could make or break either side. Russia keeps hinting at reopening a second front north of Kiev with the help of Belarusian forces to try and capture the capital, in the hopes of breaking the will of the Ukrainians to continue the fight. And while this would indeed be a viable strategy, it would also take valuable troops away from the front lines in Crimea and in Donetsk. Ukraine, with the help of their NATO allies, is also gearing up for a possible new offensive. And this push could be the one that the Russians may not be able to hold back. In the last month, numerous allies have been pledging and providing large numbers of heavy weapons in the form of tanks, artillery, armored personnel carriers, and infantry fighting vehicles. From Sweden is the pledge of 12 Archer self-propelled artillery systems, along with up to 59 of the very powerful CV-90 light tank. The British are soon to provide up to 13 Challenger 2 main battle tanks. Germany is willing to provide up to 13 Leopard 2 main battle tanks and up to 50 Marder 1 infantry fighting vehicles. The French too are providing more of the Caesar self-propelled guns, along with 40 of the AMX-10 RC tank destroyers. And to round out the list is the US, providing 90 of the M1126 Strykers, up to 50 of the M2 Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, and possibly 31 M1A2 main battle tanks just to round it out. All told, the amount pledged is more than enough to form and support a fully mechanized infantry brigade with a battalion of main battle tanks along with 3 batteries of artillery support. This is by no means a small token showing of support. Speaking of support, click the link in the description to join our Patreon. You'll be helping support more content like this, and as an added bonus, you will get to see these videos a full week earlier than everyone else on YouTube. We have all seen what the usage of much more modern artillery, anti-tank weapons, and precision weapons like HIMARS has been able to do in not only allowing Ukraine to hold their own, but to also take back lost territory and seriously threaten a total defeat by the Russians in their quest to install a puppet regime to force Ukraine into their sphere of influence. The vehicles and equipment that are being provided will not bring victory alone to Ukraine. Each new piece of equipment requires soldiers to be trained in the operations, maintenance, tactics, and then how to train others in their own country to raise their own forces up. Some of the training takes up to 8 weeks to just get the basics if these were completely green recruits and not combat experienced soldiers behind the controls. This new development is a very dangerous event for the Russians in this war. While both sides have had heavy casualties, the Russians have lost a great deal of their best divisions and echelons so far. Their best tank divisions, the core of the VDV, the Chechen fighters that were their crack shock troops, some of their best Spetsnaz groups, all are now having to either be reconstituted or were simply erased from the battlefield after months of fierce fighting against an enemy willing to spare some terrain to take out another dozen troops or another platoon of tanks or BMPs in the assault. And as we look at the size of the force, if it were to be assembled as one NATO mech brigade, it would be a force that could be able to break even some of the most hardened defensive positions the Russians have and be able to keep going. This means that the Russian allies in Crimea or Donetsk or even Luhansk could be in danger of losing everything as Putin's gambit in Ukraine crumbles with no real options left that wouldn't bring a very real war with NATO or even worse, the use of nuclear weapons, in the last-ditch effort of a madman that has nothing left to lose. Thank you all for watching this video. A special thank you to our Patreons, whose support have helped make this video possible. Click the link in the description if you want to join their ranks. We hope that you will come back and see us again on our next video. To be sure you are told of our next video, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell to make sure your notifications are on. If you previously subscribed, be sure to check to see that you are still subscribed. YouTube still has that glitch where they sometimes disappear. If you like this video, click that like button. Talk with us in the comments below. We would love to have a good discussion and we will answer any questions to the best of our ability. And don't forget to share this with your friends on social media.